So you want to know about quick hitches? Well, I'm here to tell you all about them, at least all that I know. And I found out an awful lot about them, unfortunately, after I started buying them. Ended up buying three different manufacturers. First one was the best made. It was Titan Attachments, but there was a part, and I'll show you later, that was defective, and so I ended up buying Harbor Freight, which was the least expensive of all three, but also the lowest quality in the manufacturer. And then the third one I bought at Runnings, which is the one I've got here now that I'm using, and I'll explain why I don't have the other two and why I have this, and what you also need to look out for when you go to buy a quick hitch for your 3-point hitch tractor. So you're about to go mobile, and if it's a little too jerky, I apologize, but I'll do the very best I can, and we'll try to do this thing so that hopefully in the end you know a lot more about the quick hitch than I did when I first got started on this, and it'll hopefully save you a lot of headaches. So let's get started. This is a quick hitch. There's many different manufacturers that make them, and the object of this unit is to allow you to take the 3-point hitch on your tractor and connect to your 3-point attachments a lot easier than the way you've probably been doing it for all your life, like me. The reason that I have this is a long time ago, this spring, I went to take my ballast box, which is right here, and I went to put it on my tractor, and it took me about somewhere between 10 and 30 minutes to get it attached because I could never get the pins aligned here with the loading arms, lifting arms, and up here I couldn't get this aligned, and because the thing weighs over 800 pounds, fully loaded with this stone, it was just nearly impossible for me to get it connected quickly. So after 10 or 20 or 30 minutes of struggle, I finally got it connected, and that's when I decided we're going to go quick hitch all the way through. So that being said, let's get back to the quick hitch itself, and I'll show you what it does basically and take it from there. So over here is the quick hitch. This is a, I don't know how you want to say it, Ag Connects possibly. This is the one I got at Runnings. Of the three that I purchased, this is the middle of the road for cost, middle of the road for quality of construction. But at the time when I bought all of these, this was the only one that worked. The first one I bought was from Titan Attachments, and it came very quickly, very well made. All the welds and everything were very good quality. All of the support members were solid tubular steel instead of formed sheet metal or sheet steel, however you want to say it. Very well made. I was very pleased with it. All of the connection points had a pin in them so they could be taken apart if you needed to, and everything was great, except right here. Where the top link goes, the dimension in here was not correct, and the top link would not fit in. I ended up trying 4 different top links from 3 different manufacturers. They all measured within a few thousandths of an inch of being the same size, but none of them fit in there. So in the end, the Titan Attachments, which as I say is a much better quality than the others, got returned. So my next step was to buy Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight was the least expensive, and it is also the lowest quality of the manufacturer. You can see if you were to look on the Harbor Freight welds, sometimes they have, since they used a MIG welder, you can see the wire hanging out sometimes, very rough, sharp edges. I cut myself once. Most of the unit is made by welded steel plate instead of either formed steel or tubing. So again, it's not the very best quality, but at the time when I bought it, I thought it was going to work out great. Except this hook right here with a Harbor Freight, the distance from this edge here, I hope you're in there now or you can see, the distance from this edge to the center line of these pins or these bolts was about a ½ an inch or so less. And what that created was an issue where this hook would not line up with any of my implements, where the implement itself was pushed up against this surface here before the hook was fully engaged into the pin. So it didn't work with any of my implements. Everything else was fine on it, but that's where I had the problem with the Harbor Freight. So finally I went over to Runnings and I bought 2 of them over there. I was able to quickly return the 2 units I bought at Harbor Freight without question. Returning the one to Titan Attachments was an unpleasant experience. They could have done much, much better by me, but they didn't do it. And so they got a bit of a black eye as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, the concept is you have on your 3-point attachment, you have 2 pins down here for your loading arms that you can see. And then you've got your top link attachment. Well, this has a locking point right here for where your lifting arms go. And over here, there's a lever right there that operates and releases the spring-loaded lock. So unlocking it like that opens these up here, and you can back up into your implement, raise it up. This should attach and lock nicely with your top link on your implement. And basically you're golden. So what we'll do is shut you off for a moment, and we'll load a 3-point hitch device, which happens to be a back blade that I've got for my tractor, and show you how easy it is. And hopefully it'll work right the first time. So hang on. As you can see, that attempt did not work well at all. It was a dismal failure, and that was my fault because the implement, my back blade here, was not put in place level. And level meaning the lifting arm pin here and the top link pin up there really should be level so that they kind of line up with your quick hitch so that everything lifts at the same time. So that being said, I've already added a small piece of board underneath here, and we're going to give it another shot, and hopefully it'll work much better. So stay tuned. Sorry about the quick movement. Our connection is made. Lock this thing down. The locking arm has come out. It does not go back in. So this thing is locked in permanently, so it's not going to come out on you accidentally. We're locked up here in our top link, so this thing is ready to go. Now I'm going to drop it back down, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I did not know when I bought this thing. So again, stay tuned. Okay, everything I've shown you so far, you're probably going to see on an ad, although done much, much better with less hiccups. But here's some things that they may or may not tell you in greater detail so that you truly understand before you get into all of this. The one thing that they need on a quick hitch is the implement. In this case, this ballast box needs to be, quote unquote, quick tui. Let's start again. I'll try to splice that in. This weight box needs to be quick hitch compatible, which means The distance between the pin here, the pin there, between here and a center line there needs to be such that it'll fit this quick hitch correctly. This weight box is not quick hitch compatible. The distance from here to the edge, right here, is greater than here. And this pin doesn't slide in nice and smooth. Part of the hook, as you can see, maybe you can see, this edge of the hook is actually beyond this wall of the box, so it's difficult to get in and out. It works, and it's much better than it was trying to do it the old-fashioned way. But you just need to know that your implements really should be quick hitch compatible, or you're going to have to modify them. The other thing is, this is a Category 1 quick hitch, which means it'll fit your Category 1 tractor. So you're assuming that you buy the quick hitch and you're golden, you're in business. Well, what they may not tell you is that even though the quick hitch itself says it's a Category 1 or maybe a Category 2, whatever, these connection points out here, there, and there are not Category 1, but are Category 3. So if you take your standard Category 1 pin, which you can see here, right here, which is, I believe, 7/8 inch diameter, it's going to be so sloppy in this hook that I think is 1 1/8 inch or so. It's going to be jumping all over the place. Up here, we've got the same situation with a 3/4 inch pin with 1 1/8 inch diameter pin. So it's very, very sloppy, and you need to get adapters. Now, what we have here, this is, I don't know if you can read it, but I can. It's a top link bushing, and I believe this goes from Category 2 to Category 3. Inside of this is another bushing that goes Category 1 to Category 2. So this is actually 2 bushings put together so that my Category 1 pin will work with this Category 3 hook. Down here, depending on the quick hitch you buy, some quick hitches come with 2 of these adapters. This is a Category 1 to Category 3. It's got a locking hole with a pin here that will lock right onto your lifting arm pin. And there's 2 different holes, one here and either one farther out or farther in, so that you can rotate it 90 degrees and get it to line up so that it works much better. These can be quite expensive if you go to buy them, and I've seen them up to, I think, $50 per pair. But you can also buy them on Amazon for substantially less than that. And another alternative is to go, if you go over to a place like Runnings or Tractor Supply or one of those, you can get some of these bushings. Now that's a top link bushing, but I also believe they have lifting arm bushings that you can put in there. You'll have to put in your standard linchpin on the outside, but these need to be bushed so that everything is compatible. Otherwise, when this thing comes out here, this arm, there's a huge sloppy gap in there, and this thing is going to bounce and jerk all over the place. And as I saw on one video, the guy was demonstrating this, he didn't like it at all, and I don't blame him. But that's about all I have to say on this. I think that these are a fantastic piece of equipment, and if Titan Attachments has corrected their issue, which I hope they have, and they stand behind their product, which they have in the past, and hopefully they'll continue. My number 1 choice would be Titan Attachments. Number 2 would be Ag Connects from Runnings. And I cannot say anything about the Harbor Freight because, again, their hook here is a slightly different dimension and it basically doesn't work. However, they might change that, or you might have an implement that it will work on. So other than that, happy hitching, and we'll see you next time.